As he lay immersed in the screaming odor of the spice, staring inward through the oracular trance, Paul saw the moon become an elongated sphere. It rolled and twisted, hissing, the terrible hissing of a star being quenched in an infinite sea. Down, 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 like a ball thrown by a child. It was gone. This moon had not set. Realization engulfed him. It was gone. No moon. The earth quaked like an animal shaking its skin. Terror swept over him. DUNE Messiah, the sequel to Frank Herbert's groundbreaking sci-fi novel Dune, is often ranked a favorite among longtime fans of the series, despite, or perhaps because of, its stark departure from the more action-driven narrative of the original. Shorter in length, but denser in theme, Messiah trades the sprawling world-building adventure of its predecessor for a more intimate and cerebral tale, steeped in political intrigue, philosophical reflection, and a haunting exploration of prescience and its limitations. In his 1980 essay, Dune Genesis for Omni magazine, Herbert offered insight into his creative vision for his book saga, not with a dry accounting of the stages of his writing process, but rather a poetic reflection of how his ideas manifested and evolved. About this creative evolution, he said, quote, "I conceived of a long novel, the whole trilogy, as one book about the messianic convulsions that periodically overtake us. Demagogues, fanatics, con game artists, the innocent and the not-so-innocent bystanders, all were to have a part in the drama. This grows from my theory that superheroes are disastrous for humankind, even if we find a real hero, whatever or whoever that may be. Eventually, fallible mortals take over the power structure that always comes into being around such a leader." Though briefly foreshadowed in Dune, these dangers are explored in full in Messiah, revealing the full extent of the death and destruction from the holy war waged in the name of Muad'Dib. Structurally, Herbert likened the trilogy to a fugue, a musical composition in which a central theme is introduced, then repeated and transformed across various interweaving voices. Dune introduces the heroic theme in the figure of Paul Atreides, while Messiah inverts that melody, revealing the tragic flaws beneath the hero's mythic exterior. Beneath the hero's facade, Herbert warned, you will find a human being who makes human mistakes. Enormous problems arise when human mistakes are made on the grand scale available to a superhero. Set 12 years after Paul's rise to power, Messiah begins not with triumph, but with torment. The superhero, Paul Atreides, though emperor of the known universe, is depicted being brought down from his pedestal. He is racked by the consequences of the religious jihad waged in his name, a war that claimed billions of lives, a war he foresaw, yet failed to prevent. Trapped by fate, he could only seek to limit the devastation. From the moment the jihad had chosen him, he'd felt himself hemmed in by the forces of a multitude. Their fixed purposes demanded and controlled his course. Any delusions of free will he harbored now must be merely the prisoner rattling his cage. His curse lay in the fact that he saw the cage. His prescience, once a gift, has become a curse, a relentless onslaught of visions, each one more cryptic and disturbing than the last. Central to his psychological unraveling is a recurring nightmare, a vision of cosmic annihilation, deeply symbolic and utterly terrifying. Early in the novel, Paul glimpses a fractured memory of Chani, the woman he loves, as she once was, a girl veiled in springtime. The tender image curdles into dread as Chani begins to strain against the vision, as though trying to escape. The air turns dry. The scent of smoke and ruin fills his nostrils. A rote future, strict in its instructions to him. Disengage. What once offered clarity now delivers only confusion. Paul's prescient visions are no longer illuminating. They are suffocating. He doesn't simply see these futures. He feels them. Each vision is a fully immersive sensory experience. His mouth goes dry. The stench of devastation becomes inescapable. These are not dreams, but glimpses of real and terrifying possible futures from which he cannot awaken. One of the most intriguing elements introduced in DUNE Messiah is the Dune Tarot, an oracular set of cards that becomes wildly popular across the Imperium, sold by street vendors to those desperate for glimpses of their future. However, this seemingly innocent trend has a troubling consequence. It disrupts the fabric of time itself. Paul and his sister Aaliyah find their prophetic abilities clouded as the tarot muddies the time stream and throws up a haze of conflicting possibilities. Paul likens this to muddying the waters of time. In a desperate attempt to cut through this fog and grasp a clearer vision of what lies ahead, he consumes a massive dose of spice essence and sees the vision in full and terrifying splendor. The imagery is stark, elemental, and apocalyptic. In his trance, Paul sees the moon, a symbol of stability, guidance, and identity, snuffed out like a dying star. To witness its fall is not just to see destruction, it is to experience the erasure of culture and cosmic order. Herbert articulates the symbolic weight of this vision with chilling clarity. The vision suggested a monstrous loss of individual security. Perhaps he'd seen his civilization fall, toppled by its own pretensions. A moon, a falling moon. The moon holds deep symbolic meaning, especially for Paul. Early in his time with the Fremen, he adopts the name Muad'Dib after the desert kangaroo mouse, known for its keen instincts, adaptability, and ability to survive in the harshest conditions. The Fremen revere this creature not only as a model of endurance, but also as a sacred symbol whose image is forever etched into the surface of Arrakis's second moon. In choosing this name, Paul aligned himself with Fremen values and traditions, embedding his identity within the fabric of their culture. The Fremen themselves are also referred to as children of the moon for traveling at night when traversing great distances across the open desert. In this context, the moon serves as a powerful emblem of guidance and tradition, for Paul, for the Fremen, and for the myth that unites them. This makes Paul's vision of the moon's fall all the more chilling and significant. It is not just destruction of a celestial body, it represents the collapse of everything that has defined him. It took a massive dose of spice essence to see through the haze cast by the tarot, and what Paul found was not comfort or control, but inevitability. The falling moon encapsulates a bitter truth he already knew but resisted, that in order to buy an end to the jihad carried out in his name, to silence the volcano of bloodshed, he must sacrifice his own image. He must fall. In witnessing the fall of the moon, Paul Atreides does not merely foresee destruction, he experiences the unraveling of self, myth, and empire. It is the ultimate symbol of collapse, of belief, of divine authority. But perhaps the most tragic realization is not that Paul sees this future, but that he cannot change it. This is the paradox that lies at the heart of DUNE Messiah, that to see the future with perfect clarity is not to master it, but to become its prisoner. Paul's curse is not ignorance, but knowledge. Knowledge so complete, it leaves no room for freedom. Paul's vision of the falling moon becomes more than a symbol of ruin. It is a reflection of the price of prescience. His myth must die so that humanity may live, and in that death, we are left not with the triumphant rise of a god, but the quiet tragedy of a man who saw too much and could do too little. I'm curious to know what you think of Paul's story arc in DUNE Messiah and his terrifying visions. Are there any points of symbolism in the moon falling that you appreciate in particular? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy news, theories, and lore. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, you can leave a super thanks or join as a YouTube member for early access to new videos and other perks. You can also check out my Patreon page for exclusive content. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.